I'm excited to be here and thank you guys for having me. A lot of questions that I get asked is that what is a full stack designer? And it's a fairly new industry term that's been circulating around the internet. And it basically means that a designer that knows how to code. I know how to create logos, build websites from scratch, and be able to design websites as well. And designing and developing websites are two different things. A lot of people don't really understand that, or just don't have a has an overarching view of what a web design and web development is. But that's exactly that. Web design is just designing the website, say for instance in like Adobe Illustrator, or just an image or Figma or things like that versus web development is actually building that website, say for instance, using the CMS or just plain old HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But I'll get right into it for who I am, how I got started, and kind of go from there. So I've always been very artistic in my life, and my mom even told me I was drawing since I was three. So basically, I just started drawing and drawing and drawing and do all the things that I love to do, creative stuff, creating like comic book strips, creating characters that I liked. I wish I had my portfolio back then, but I had like things like if you know the game and the cartoon Beautiful Joe. That was one of my favorite that was one of my favorite cartoons and video games at the time because it was just one of those really unique games out there. I did some portraits of that. I did some portraits of Bugs Bunny. I did a lot of stuff out there where it was just like freehand and coloring and things like that. My favorite cartoon character was Bugs Bunny, and he was had a lot of influence on how I created things and did things back in the day because I like to use the Looney Tunes style, and then I got into anime and then started doing the anime style, and then it just kind of came up with my own style and just kind of go from there, which is similarly cartoon based but clean cut kind of things like that. But going into high school, I started designing for other people, just doing artwork and things like that. Before I was doing it in the middle school, just drawing people stuff for money, things like that, just because, it was one of those things to do and it got me money so I could get candy and get junk food and things like that. Um, it was fun to do all of that stuff. But then it got to a point where I was like, I don't want to do this for this amount of money. So I started charging a little bit more. And a lot of people were like, oh, you're charging too much, things like that. So throughout my life, I always had that, oh, you're charging too much, things like that, uh, stigma and standpoint. But once I got into high school, my uncle turned me on to Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop. And at the time, he told me, hey, you should get these programs and things like that. And he told me, I asked him, hey, is they free? And I was like, no, they're not free. He's like, then how do I get them? I was like, you got to get them in a way, if you know what that means. So I ended up getting them in that way and started creating my cartoon characters and comic books things and bringing them to life. Um, the name of the um, the name of the comic book that I was working on at the time, which I still have in my archives, and I really do haven't been building onto it, was called Dersoing, and it's like this anime that has a good story plot, but I haven't like actually put it all together. And it was something I started, and then I decided to not continue to do because I got into graphic design. I started doing logos for other people and things like that. Um, I eventually want to bring that back, but back to the back to the topic of the story. I started doing all of this stuff, and then I started showing it to people I was around at the time. If you don't know who I am, I'm from. If you don't know where I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and I grew up there from till I was 16, and then moved to Pontiac, Michigan. In Pontiac, uh, I started meeting people who had an artistic influence in the area. One of them being Robert Karazin. He's a really, really renowned architect, in my opinion. Really does a really good job of what he does. He takes buildings down in the Pontiac area and just makes them look beautiful from the inside and outside. And I was downtown and I was creating something. And he saw my work and I was like, hey, let me go ahead and see if I can get something created and things like that. So he asked me if I could build a website, and at the time I had no idea about building a website. So me being myself, I was like, okay, how am I going to build this website? So I went to Wix, which I don't use anymore, but it's a good platform. I'm not knocking it or anything. It's just it's limiting in its ways, but not so much into what it is now. But it is limiting in its ways. But back to James just commented and said I'm not charging enough, and he's probably right. So I'm just gonna leave that comment there. But back to I lost my train of thought. Not James, you made me lose my train of thought. Back to going to the website for Wix. I built the website for Wix, and I had absolutely, I'm gonna be honest, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, but I know how I wanted it to look. So I just kind of like winged it and put it where it needed to be. And that was the thing that actually got people wanting to work with me at the time. And at the time, I was charging like $200 a website, and I had a whole bunch of people coming towards me and asking me, "Hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do that?" And I started doing portraits for people, and then I ended up starting doing logos for people, and started refining my process and kind of going from there. Once I got to a point where, once I got to a point where I could like start selling logos and things like that, I was charging maybe like 150 for a logo. The lowest I would do is 75 because I wanted to work with people. And I was doing logos for music artists in the area. And then I got into photography and started taking pictures and things like that as well. My photography passion didn't really continue as I got out there, but for the most part, it kind of like stayed with me because it was a skill that I needed in order to, get where I needed to be before all the stock photos and things like that came into fruition, like the free stock photo sites like Unsplash and things like that. So I just used that skill to make websites really, really good. If it was a website in a local area, I used the photography equipment that I had to take a good picture, refine it, and then add it to the website, or use it as a reference for a logo or something like that. Um, Once I got out of high school, graduated high school, and ended up moving to Iowa down here. While I was doing that, I was just pretty much kind of like building up my skill, going from uh, going from just kind of doing all of the things that I would normally do and just kind of like finding ways to do it better, taking things from other designers and websites and artists and things like that and incorporating it into my brand because I wanted to be unique. And once I got to Iowa, I realized there was a potential for me to actually make this do full time. Before I was not, I wasn't always full time. I've been doing this for almost 3 years now. And I used to work at like, when I first moved down here, I used to work at Hardee's. And I would just like go through all of this stuff, do design, started a clothing company while I was down here as well, called Style Clothing Co. If you want to go and look that up. And I wanted to just pretty much do all of the design things that I could possibly do. The clothing company got a lot of buzz while I was doing it, while I was working. And then I had to like get my graphic design stuff up because people were asking me to do designs at the time as well. A lot of things that people were asking me were like, "Oh, can you design a shirt? Oh, can you do this? Oh, can you do that?" Excuse me. And that's not something I wanted to do. I wanted to create a brand that is interchangeable through other people and things like that, like interchangeable with outfits, like based on your personality is what I'm trying to say. And when people ask me, "Oh yeah, I want to change it to this color and this color and this color," and I just got to the point where I was just like, I don't want to do that. That's something I don't want to do. So I had to kind of like figure out how to convey that. And that's one of the things I'm still kind of struggling with. Like I want to be able to create a clothing company that isn't being switched and colored based on the customer perspective, but being molded by the customer in a sense that uh, like embodies who they are without having to change the design and make it a whole bunch of different colors. Um, Back to when I was working at Hardee's, made a bunch, few friends there. Those friends turned into lifetime friends. Then I moved over to Pine Trails, made some lifetime friends there. One of them who actually works for me now as an assistant, her name is Nicole, and I was just building up my portfolio, getting all the things that I needed to get done, creating designs and things like that. Then I went over to Aldi and Started working there and just kind of building up a design and portfolio. And then it got to the point where I just got really, really, really fed up about how you have to climb the corporate ladder in order to do the things you need to do. So one day, one of my managers was there, and just I was just not in a bad mood, and I was just like, I'm just gonna put my 2 weeks in. So I put my 2 weeks in without any money saved or anything like that, and decided to go on to design 100% full time. And it was definitely a scary thought, but I was like, it was the only option that I had if I wanted to continue to do this 100% full time. So I did that. Struggled for the first few months, but I cut out a lot of expenses, got rid of everything that I didn't need, and then just pretty much put myself in a position to like succeed. So I just started putting like daily affirmations, trying to find companies and workflows and things that can keep me consistent and kind of like go from there. Learning the do's, learning the don'ts, and just pretty much get into a position to where I could do this full time and have a consistent client base. One of the things I don't do is promote my work. And the reason why I don't is because I just feel like if I were to get my work out there, if people like my work, they will promote it for me, basically. And that's the reason why a lot of my business is word of mouth. And when they say, hey, I like this, I like this, I like this, and they refer me to other people, like Rena has referred me to many, many people. James has referred me to many, many people, if you know who those people are. I've gotten clients from people who I don't even talk to as much, like Benjamin Kaplan. He was a photographer, and he's just really, really awesome person, just all around. And he referred me to Ben Robertson of Community Law Office, and I got that project done. And it's just like the amount of referrals. It's just I can't keep track of it, but I know that the referrals is what's keeping my business going. And it's really, really nice that people have so much nice things to say about me. But I've noticed also, like, I don't promote my work for that reason, because I don't feel like I need to. And it's not because it's an ego thing. It's just that, if, like I said before, if people like what I do, then they will come to me and hire me for what I do based on what I'm giving to them. And that's something I had to learn along the way, because like you can't win every client, you can't win every client, you can't win every project, and that's perfectly fine. I've lost many projects, as many as I've gotten, and it's always a base from there. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. If you guys have questions or anything like that, I'm willing to answer.
So when you were learning how to do web design, was that you kind of self-taught yourself, is that correct? Or did you do
Yes.
any program? Okay.
Yeah, so the way I self-taught myself was I was using Wix, and I thought Wix wasn't the best platform. And then Webflow came out of beta, and I used that as a tool to teach myself how to do design. When Webflow came out of beta and I was using it, when Webflow was in beta, I was using it and learning it. And then they had this export feature, excuse me. And I looked at the code and see what it does. I was like, this is actually really easy to do. And I looked at it, tried to mimic it, and then understand how it worked, and just pretty much was like, okay, I could definitely do this now. I can build this from this. And then I found Bootstrap, and I found this CMS called October CMS. I didn't start with WordPress, and unlike some people in the room, but I ended up learning WordPress and getting where I needed to be with that, because it was the more popular platform. And I realized people don't want that more than October CMS. But it essentially went from Wix to Webflow to exporting the code to understanding the code to writing the code myself to using a CMS to pretty much building websites from scratch.
Devin, you mentioned that you're a full stack designer, and that means that you design, but you also know how to code. I'm a developer who has no design skills, and so I rely on people like you to design things for me. And I could talk about this, but I want to hear more explain what do you think is the advantage that you have as a designer, also knowing how to code versus other designers who don't know anything about code.
The advantages that I think that I have is well, I'll start with the ones that I know. So like building something in design and knowing how to code it is a really, really, really good standpoint on how you can kind of like take one thing to another. So say for instance, someone gave me a Figma layout or a sketch layout with some animations and things like that. Um, and wanted to add some like color to it and then just add some extra more animations and things like that. I can figure out how to do that in code using either a library or just coding it myself and going from there versus when a designer just builds something, they just kind of like have that whole flat idea. But then again, there's like multiple types of designers out there, which like UX designer, user experience, UI designer. There's so many X designers out there that is crazy. But being in that space and knowing how something can be developed and actually having the mindset and how to get that where it needs to be is a good standpoint for me. The things that I don't exactly know if I have advantage on is like just knowing the frameworks that people know. So, like, say for instance, I had a client who wanted me to design something in Laravel, and I had no idea how Laravel worked or anything like that. Like, I know it's a model view controller framework, but uh, as I was going through and learning how things work, and then learning how routes work and things like that, it helped me understand on how to edit the CSS files or adding CSS to that page specifically to in editing the HTML with the loops that they have using Blade or something like that. Like that's something that is really nice to know, but it doesn't necessarily put me at an advantage per se. But it's just it's just knowing the code is like half the battle basically, or knowing how to recode is half the battle.
Yeah, I'll say my 2 cents. What I appreciate about you is some designers are really, really good at designing, and they come up with crazy, awesome-looking designs that are an absolute pain in the ass to try to develop. And so I appreciate that you understand what would go into developing some things, and you understand what it would take to turn your design into an actual website. And a lot of designers don't have that understanding.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. I feel like it limits me in a way per se because, well, like if I know how to design, I know how to develop, but I don't necessarily want to make the website too extravagant because I know that's gonna be a pain in the butt to code. It's kind of like a what's the word I'm looking for? A flip flop kind of situation. Like it's a like if I wanted to design something that was like extremely extravagant, I know it's going to take a lot to code. So like, but at the same time, is this feasible for the user to go onto this website and be like, oh, I know how to use this and things like that. Like it's it's a plus and minus kind of thing.
Devin, nice to meet you. What you're talking about, absolutely understand. I think you're really describing, as you pointed out, a problem that a lot of customers don't really understand. And another way I talk about it is like, a website in some ways is like building a house, and you need designers, like interior designers and architects, and it helps if they know some of the practical things like how to do electricity and plumbing, but there are also professionals to do that part, and carpenters and so on. And I too have run into a lot of projects where they think it's just one person does everything. So that's great, but and I would like to talk afterwards because I have a number of projects that I need help with. So let's do that. But what do you focus on any particular market? I mean, you talked a little bit about clothing. Anything else specifically like industries or markets, business types that you try to focus on?
I don't have a specific market that I focus on when it comes to building websites or building brands. Uh, I've built brands for whiskey sauce companies, and all the way from music schools, all the way from musical artists. So I don't, like I said, I don't necessarily have a, particular market that I like to work with. I really like to work with everybody because it challenges me, and I can create something unique for them. Because just coming up with a niche market seems kind of boring to me, in my opinion. But but I like to work with a bunch of people. But I like to work with a bunch of different people, and it's helped me understand life a little bit more, and it's helped me, like I said before, create something unique, especially for them.
Hey, Devin, thanks for your talk. It sounds like you've got quite a bit of life experience. How do you go about, you said you've won some and lost some different bids for projects and such. How do you go about pricing a project? Even before you get to the development, you have to have a good idea of what's entailed. But like you said, there's going to be some really over extravagant type of websites that people won't even know how to use. How do you price it out, and what kind of guidance or consulting do you give or provide your clients?
So the way I price it out, I have a structured pricing already put in place, so that the client knows exactly what they're getting when they choose one of the packages. If you go to devingreen.me/pricing, you'll see each one and kind of go from there. But I think, like, I have it all written out, so that way in a brochure that I can just send a client. So they, like I said before, they know what they're getting. They know how the website is built, and kind of go from there. When it comes to something that comes out of scope of any of that stuff, I tend to work out a deal with them and try to get as much information as possible, kind of like do a discovery call, so that way I can figure out what they need, what they don't need, and what I can build for them in particular. What I found is that clients come with high expectations and want to build the world, but can't necessarily build the world due to the market that they are in. So that's something that I will like actually talk to them about it, understand what their market is, and then design something based on that market, so that way they can get where they need to be without having to overwhelm their customer and go from there. I don't like simplifying ideas down. I'm an artist. I like being extravagant and crazy and things like that. But in order for people to understand, it needs to be refined to a right amount of crazy, if that makes sense.
I'm going through.
I also want to talk to you after this for a website redesign project. So.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you, Eric, too. I appreciate it.
Yeah, those are some great. I mean, if I were a designer, I definitely want to work with those two. Well, Steve Baker, maybe. I'm just kidding. No, looking at your website, you're very talented. Very talented. I love this. Tell us a little bit more. So you've got your website design, and you do all the back end stuff. It's sometimes when the words that you use, I'm like, that's a foreign language to me. So I'd be like, could you just build it, make it look pretty? But tell us more about the clothing line. I'm curious about this. Do you have that anywhere on, are you sold in local stores? Are you selling online? Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so the clothing company is called Style Clothing Co. I'm going to put a link in the description, in the chat as well. And the clothing company was made because it was initially made for me, but I wanted to expand that idea out to everybody else. The slogan is, or the mission statement is, to create a lifestyle that embodies unity, respect, and individuality. And the way we do that is, the way you can do that is through clothing, the way you look, and things like that. What I have on there is it's a streetwear brand that pretty much embodies what I would like to look like, and I would like other people to look like, what they can and they can wear with other things as well. I'm still refining that brand, but for the most part, those are the aspects, and I just want to make it so that way it's heavily heavily based in hip hop culture, heavily based in just unity culture, and just pretty much putting everybody together so they can be who they are and empower people to be who they are as well.
That's awesome. This is great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Devin, yeah, thanks for presenting. This is great. And I know a little while ago I had a conversation too with an entrepreneur that was looking for UX UI help, and I didn't have anybody readily available. But if it's all right with you, I'll make an introduction a little bit later. Again, I don't know where it might go, but if it's somebody in Iowa City, so at least it's local. But if you want to follow up, I'd be happy to make that connection as well.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I noticed that there are a lot of people asking for projects, and I'm flattered. But really, thank you guys. I really do appreciate it. The only thing that I can say that is I'm a little bit behind right now due to a loss in my family. I don't want to talk about it too much, but for most part, I'm just a tiny bit behind right now. So I was booked out. I'm kind of booked out to the end of this month to beginning of next month of March. So if we were to do some projects, I can work with you on time and things like that. I'm usually really good at managing multiple projects at once. I just need to get through what I got now and then kind of go from there. But with that being said, usually websites take anywhere from a month to 3 months, depending on what the project is. So if you guys are looking to hire me or anything like that, I'm flattered. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys. It just might just have to take a little bit and then kind of go from there.
Right on.
To clarify, that's for you to design and build a website. The month to 3 months. Okay.
Wait.
I'm asking you you said it would take you a month or 3 months, and I'm just clarifying that includes designing and actually building the website. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
And, Devin, one question just out of curiosity on the art side of things with your connection to Michigan. Are you familiar with a printmaker by the name of Amos Kennedy?
I am not actually.
Okay.
Go ahead. I would love to know who she is, though.
Yeah, no, I'll drop a link in the chat.
Okay. There's a lot of people creative in the area of Detroit. Few of them I met and then kind of lost the connection with, and then they got famous, which is kind of awesome actually. But Tommy Walker, the person that made Detroit versus Everybody, that dude is a menace. He is awesome. He is just really, really great. And there's another one that comes off the top of my head, but I can't remember his name because I haven't talked to him in so long. But he used to do a lot of print work in the area, but then he ended up teaching people at the I think it's the Art Institute or College for Creative Studies. One of those two, I can't remember. But yeah, he's a really great person. If I remember that name, I'll definitely put that out there. But there are a lot of great artists in Detroit, and they're just people out there that are just really good, just ridiculously good for no reason. And I'm happy to know that I come from a place where there's a lot of creativity, is what I'm saying, basically.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So Devin, we were talking about this during Open Coffee, but I think others might be curious to hear what kind of new projects you have in the works. You're talking about your new business idea.
Yeah.
Do you want to share that?
Yeah. So the business idea that I've been working in for a while now, I believe I started it's about 2 years ago, still building it. The name of it is called Beaverbee, and it is a scalable subscription graphic design service. The model behind this is to pair you with a designer that works well with you based on your personality traits or compatibility with the person and move from there. And the other part of the model is to have a subscription-based design based on what you need. So if you only need them for a week, you can hire them for that much amount of time. If you only need them for a month, then you can hire them from that much amount of time and go from there. Essentially, what I'm trying to do with this is combine pretty much create an ecosystem so that way people are paired with a really great designer that works really well for them, and let people understand that every designer is different. Every designer has their own strengths and weaknesses, and you could use those to your advantage to do what you want to do with your design and things like that. Not as a tool, but as an advantage.
I told him earlier, but I'm very excited for this service. I think it could definitely come in handy for a lot of smaller organizations that don't necessarily have the graphic design expertise.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be one of those things that are really, really fun to do. Once the once the app gets built, I'm working with a developer on that right now who has a stake in the company. But once the app gets built and ready to go, we're just going to pretty much launch and send out an email to everyone. I'm planning on having it done in third quarter and getting it all ready to go and kind of go from there.
Could we get you to come back to 1 Million Cups and present it to us?
Yes, I would love to.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Also, I should also say that it's not just me. It's my business partner, marketer, Raphael Robertson. He runs the marketing side of it, and Josh Belcastro out in Florida, he does the development of it.
Takes a team.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
So I really think your story is incredibly inspiring. How do you stay positive through all the ups and downs? Because entrepreneurship has so many ups and downs. How do you stay positive?
Humor. If anybody knows me or knows of me, I post a lot of dad jokes, and it's really just to help me kind of like stay on track and things like that, because humor just makes things a lot better. But another thing that I do is I'll take personal days for myself to spend time with family to make sure that they're good and kind of go from there. I'll also set up a structured day so that way I can make sure I get all of my things done. And if I don't get it done, that's perfectly okay. And I also have daily affirmations that I repeat to myself all the time. I won't repeat those out, but because like if you're gonna do daily affirmations, you should find what resonates with you and say those daily. It really does help though. Like just saying things over and over in the morning or whenever you would like to. It just helps with your mood. It helps with everything that you're doing, and also setting a weekly goal. Like say for instance, my weekly goal was to read into audiobook called what is it called? The Art of Doing Nothing. Uh, it's funny, it's ironic because like I read it and I'm not exactly doing nothing, or listen to it. But it's a really good book. But essentially, just making sure that myself is good by doing all these daily affirmations and things like that, and understanding if if I'm in a rut, I can create anytime I want to, but if I'm in a rut, like say for instance, I'm just exhausted, I'm just tired, I understand that. I take a nap or do whatever I need to do, and then get back to the grind if I can throughout the day. I mean, there's only so much time in a day you can do things, and that's perfectly fine. But yeah, that's all I got.
Cool, thank you.
No problem.
Devin, I took the opportunity while you were talking to look at your website.
Mhm.
That's a great website. I'm on a Note 9, and the responsive design is perfect. You can scroll down; it displays very well.
Thank you.
You had mentioned the building the app for your new project.
Mhm.
Um, with websites now being viewed so much on phones, there's a difference between a responsive design and an app, I guess. Do you get into the building of these apps, or when you're building your the client's website, how much does the use of an app or mobile devices come come into your thought process?
So I guess it was a little bit misleading when it comes to building apps. So like when I think of apps, there's different types of apps: a web app or an actual app that installs on your phone. Um, Google Chrome recently initialized these things called PWAs, progressive web apps, which you can install on your phone, which pretty much acts like an actual app, depending on the functionality and everything like that. But for the most part, what I like to do is if it's an app that I believe that could be built on the web solely, like say for instance, you're really just going to use it on the computer, then I would just kind of keep it there. But if it's something that I know that's going to be used mobilely, something that's going to be used on the fly and kind of go from there, then I will go to having a progressive web app. I've dabbled in building apps. It's not my forte. But when it comes to like having something that works works really functionally as a web app, I kind of just keep it on the web and then kind of go from there. Like there's a difference between needing the actual app and then needing a web app, basically. No problem. Did that answer your question, by the way? Okay.
Any other questions for Devin? If not, I'll ask the final question. How can we as a community support you, Devin?
Just share my website. Essentially, if you have friends or family that you know that could benefit from my work and feel they are a good fit for me, then go ahead and tell them about me and plug them into my website. If you like to follow me on social media, I am on multiple platforms, all the same handle of Artistro08, ARTISTRO08. I am on Twitter, Facebook, GitHub, Dribble. There's another one like LinkedIn, and yeah, all of those platforms. Most of them I post to. I'm still working on LinkedIn, kind of going from there. But yeah, if you guys could just refer me to other people or share my website, that would be awesome.
Well, I absolutely will do that. And I think a lot of people will as well. So thanks so much for joining us today, Devin. I really enjoyed your presentation and look forward to hopefully working with you in the future.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. And to all the people referring me and wanting me as a designer, like I said, I'm flattered. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys.
Well, you definitely have one of the best websites I've seen in a while. So you're doing awesome.
I was really impressed. I'm kind of a critical guy. In fact, I'm filling out the contact form, so don't forget to look at it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I should also let you guys know, I do have an assistant on board, so she'll probably get to it before I do, but I will definitely look forward to the contact.
Sweet.